but that's my fault because I totally.
That's okay. I totally screwed the pooch on that one.
No. Well, I looked back at the messages and I said 7:45, not thinking you and I are on the same time zone, with 6:45 our time, 7:45 Ray's time,
Right.
and then I just got
I
back
it's
from out and about, so I
it,
haven't shaved anything either. So, anyhow, there you go. So,
There we go.
we are live now, and welcome to the Big Blue House, right? Hey there, hi there, ho there, out in Spray Wash Land. Tonight we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We got a special guest with us today, Richard Kishon Jr. Is that how you say it correctly?
No, that's okay. It's Chihan.
Shihan. Well, see, the Cajun
well,
side.
crap! I've had it wrong all these years.
No,
I always thought it was Sichon.
That's
But,
pretty darn close. I mean, look, I'll take it.
I think Richard has it wrong. That's what I think.
I've been doing it wrong all these years.
That's it. That's right.
Lordy.
Anyhow, yeah. So it'll be a little bit, obviously. So let me start off this way. Rich came to us, I guess, probably about a week ago, and asked if it was okay to post something in the groups about a situation that he has going on. And ironically, Ray and I talked about it a little bit today, and I guess come to find out, we both said the exact same thing to you, and for the most part, which was,
Right.
You got so much credibility with us that you could post it. We're not worried about what you're going to post, kind of a thing.
Right.
So anyhow, we talk about respirators all the time in the industry, and sometimes it sounds like we're being broken records over the thing, and just protecting yourself. And so, Rich, why don't we start off this way? Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're at, what you've done, all that kind of stuff, and then a little bit about your diagnosis and whatever you want to go with, and then we'll kind of go
Sure.
back and forth with some questions and see
Yeah.
what goes.
Absolutely. So, Rich Chihan, we have a small 4-person pressure washing company. I think we're doing pretty well on our end, and have established ourselves since 2015. We kind of took a leap of faith and quit our jobs and said, let's go all in. So ever since then, we've been building our brand, in the pressure washing industry down here. And I think that I've built myself a good name, and I know that I've trained my guys enough to where they have continued on with the name. In fact, they've done me so doggone proud lately by taking over and doing the dirty work, so to speak. And I just got several emails from one of our largest companies that we work for, and they were just gloating on how good of a job it was done. I was like,
Awesome.
they were just really happy with our product still, even though I'm not there on the job site at this time. I had to take a little hiatus, obviously, with this cancer and everything. I'm in and out of hospitals and getting poked and prodded everywhere. So, it's a thing, it's like having a full-time job at this point. So, as things go on, it's just getting to where I'm moving back in the business and kind of in the backgrounds, kind of just still doing quotes and checking on things and ordering things, in the background, not, so to speak, really working, but still being active. But what brought all this on was a fluke diagnosis. I had a lump in my stomach that I had the doctor look at, and he was like, he kind of got scared and said, let's get a CT scan of this thing right away. And it turned out to be a 20 centimeter tumor already growing in my abdomen. So, it was already late stages of cancer, with me working the whole time, all the way up to the date. Even after that date, we're out working hard. We work on a lot of apartment complexes. The one that we're working on at the time of diagnosis was a 48 8-unit apartment complex. You know, I mean, a huge apartment complex for a small crew like us, but we still got it done in a very adequate amount of time. You know, about 3 weeks. So you know, we're rocking and rolling with all the equipment that we have, and we're pretty proficient in everything. But as far as you know, me noticing anything, it was absolutely zero notice, and I wasn't feeling any side effects of cancer. I wasn't feeling anything that would just like tune me into anything that would say, hey bud, you got cancer, you better go get it checked out.
Right.
So you know, at that point, that's when everything kind of started going a little bit downhill, you know, and we're just kind of going day by day at this point.
And for those who don't know you, I mean, you're a fairly stout fella. I mean, you're not dainty by any means. I mean,
Right.
You're solid. Your career law enforcement, former SWAT. I mean, you know, and very much hands-on and a worker. You know, you're not
Right.
you're not a paper pusher. You know, sit behind the thing. So, you know, it's crazy that this hasn't, you know, just been bringing you down, you know,
Right.
before this. I mean, it's really a testament, I think, to your physical ability, Rich.
Right. And that's, you know, with anybody, as long as you're working hard and really pushing, I think you can kind of get through anything, regardless of what it is. I personally have a great outlook on this as far as getting through it. The doctors at MD Anderson, we went straight there. Once we got diagnosis of cancer, we went straight to MD Anderson in Texas. We weren't messing around with anybody going, I guess it's something,
Right.
you know. So we went to somebody that was, you know, extremely affluent in what they understood as this leiomyosarcoma, and they you know, even when I came in, he was like, look, I think I'm going to push on a harder drug on you. That way we can really get this nipped in the bud, because you're not coming in here with diabetes. You're not coming in here weak. You're not coming in here as a frail human being. You look
Right.
like you're tough and ready to go. And I said, look, man, if we had to get into a bar fight right now, we could do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I still feel that way.
And
You
that's
know, I
really
mean,
what this is going to be, really.
right. And you know, the whole thing out of everything is absolute lack of respecting the chemicals that we use, and me not using the respirators and whatnot on job sites for so many years. Like I said, we've been doing this since 2015, and we rock and roll. I mean, we do a lot of work, and even guys around me and that are near me can attest to how go-getting we really are. I mean, we don't take no for an answer, and we beat it up. I mean, we really do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, and you're. Let me get this straight though. Whenever we talked earlier with your initial posting, you said the doctor specifically said that there was a high probability that this could be caused by exposure. Correct?
That's correct. That was one of the two main exposure things. That one was genes, and the other one was exposure to chemicals, and specifically chlorine gas exposure.
Wow.
And that was just the thing, you know, it set a big red flag off in my head.
Yeah.
And I made sure to tell him, and, you know, I mean, I'm going through my old SDS truck box booklet, you know, and I'm like, hey man, here's basically what we use, you know, and that gave him some research, I guess, to get in there and say, you know, hey, maybe this was the cause. Of course, you know, doctors are doctors. They're never going to say, yeah, dude, that was the cause. That's it.
Right.
Right away without
They really
knowing.
can't.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, it's just one of those things where he said that is one of the major causes of this, and it darn sure could be the root of all evil in your case.
Well, and I think th- this is an extremely rare cancer.
Yes.
So there's not, and again, since I mean, it can be passed down, but it's really, from what I've read so far, it's not really a genetic thing, though it can be passed down. And the chemical being front, the chemical exposure is probably the highest probability, and that's where
Correct.
the doctor is leaning towards. And so, we can argue all day long about whether or not, again, that because the doctors aren't they're not going to say, they can't,
No.
they can't say, I mean, because they don't, there's no factual way to know exactly how and where it came from, but the probability of where it came from is going to be your
Right.
exposure to chlorine gas.
Right. Extremely high.
And
Yeah.
you guys got to remember that, as we like to say, you're not spraying chlorine, right? But what you are off gassing is a chlorine gas, especially like on a hot roof. How many roofs would you say you do?
So now, now with roofs, I do mask up because the fumes are just so high. You know, I mean, that was one place where I was very diligent about putting a mask on. You know, so I wore a mask during those, but I can say honestly, and you know, heart of hearts, I got to be honest with you, I never, ever, ever wore a mask while I'm spraying a house, you know, or concrete. I mean, there were times when I was smelling, you know, I was like, God, man, I should go throw a mask on, you know, and just in the drive of wanting to go and get something done, I was like, you know, that's 15 minutes that I'm going to waste, you know, getting the mask out of the truck and ripping the bag open and, you know, getting all this. And
you bring up actually a very valid point that I think Ray can probably say the same thing. And when we talk to guys about respirators, most guys say almost verbatim what you said. Well,
right.
I don't wear a respirator when I'm house washing, but I wear a respirator most of the time when I'm spraying a roof, depending on if it's windy enough that I don't need one, you know, that kind of a thing. But what we rarely talk about is, you know, wearing the respirator for post-treating or pre-treating concrete, because that's kind of the same thing as doing the roof. Now, mind you, that we might spray a much lower concentration, but it's hitting that hot concrete and it's off-gassing right away.
Right.
So probably, to me, it would be more so on the concrete and the roof than the house wash. But for me, I've said it a dozen times over. It's mandatory for my guys, anytime they're spraying, to be wearing their mask. And if I pull up on the job site, you're not wearing it while you're spraying, somebody's getting fired. It's just the way it is. Because to me, it's my job to keep my guys safe. And I think that's kind of where you're saying now too, is that, you know, you saw it before with the roof cleaning side of it, but maybe didn't think about it for the concrete and the house washing. But now that this is developed, first I want to applaud you too, because this is something that we need to talk about in the industry. We talk about it, but without having the evidence coming forward like this, I think that's part of it. And we need to have this open discussion with somebody that is willing to talk about it and say,
absolutely,
hey, I'm the one that's got it. And
right.
This is what the doctors are saying is the probable cause, even though we can't say factually that's what it is.
Correct.
Right. And you know, and so Brenda was asking the question here, and you think about it, really. So as chlorine, and it's not just the heat. I mean, and God knows the heat. Whenever we're spraying this on hot surfaces, we're off gassing because the water's evaporating, and we're leaving with a stronger bleach mix that's on there. The water's the first thing to evaporate out, so leaving a stronger concentration. But also, as the bleach, my understanding, don't claim to be the chemist, but my understanding is, as the bleach is working, as that reaction happens and it's hitting organics, now it's off gassing as well. Now all of a sudden it's chemically changing. It's running back to its salt, and it's off gassing the chlorine gas, is my understanding on there. So even a house mix, the more organics that we come in contact with, the more the more chlorine is released. Think about it like this. I've always heard, the old pool guys tell me, if you go to a pool, like a public pool that smells very, very bleachy, very chloriney, it's because a lot of people are peeing in that pool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of organics being attacked in that pool. That's why you smell it. You wouldn't smell it if the chlorine was kind of inert, not acting.
I have to agree with that 100%. I was a lifeguard.
All right, let's see. Lifeguard,
Yeah.
SWAT guy. I mean, what haven't you done? So, were you an astronaut as well?
No.
Yeah.
I wish that'd have been pretty cool.
That would definitely be the pretty cool thing. So, and Jeff was asking, are y'all spraying wet cement or dry? And I'm going to say, Jeff, that you're going to be having people spraying it both ways. I think that they should be spraying it wet, but pre-treated.
And yes, it's the chloramines that are getting released.
Right.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, and Ray, you've met my brother, and know that he's a chemical engineer,
right?
And actually had a pretty good discussion with him.
Yeah.
But basically, once we introduce water to sodium hypochlorite, it's now it starts gassing off. It's the oxygen molecule that attaches to the other molecules, and it starts a process of a gas off. Mm-hmm. So anytime we're spraying walls, anything, it's quite literally gassing off as we're spraying, and depending on the tips that we're doing, we're atomizing it more, and that can get down into our lungs and start the process of starting a cancer, and like I said, I didn't know or even feel anything. So it's like, I'd really like everybody to know that go get checked out, go get looked at. The only thing that's gonna kind of do anything is a CT scan, and they would be able to find something, because I didn't even feel anything. Nothing hurt. Nothing would have clued me in with any blood test or blood panels.
So your white blood cells weren't even elevated at all.
Not a bit. Nothing. The only thing that I had was a little bit of low hemoglobin. That was it.
So if they had to found
really
literally that
style of cancer, and it is something where it attacks like the soft tissues, and it's not something that you're going to, like you're saying, that even gets noticed right off. And it wasn't until you felt a lump. Is that what happened?
Correct. Yeah. When I felt the lump, I was going into the doctor anyway, so I told him to feel it and check it out, see what was going on. I didn't know if maybe I had a cyst growing or something. People get cysts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little pus pocket, and they cut it out, and you're out of there in that afternoon. Well, this isn't the case. So I've got to go through 6 rounds of chemotherapy, the strongest thing that they can put in me to kill the tumor and get it shrunk down and small enough to go into an operation. And then after the operation, then I'll have to go and do chemotherapy again, and then I'll basically be in a hospital the rest of my life. In and out, checking and rechecking and making sure that it's gone away or managed at least.
And so one of the biggest pieces of advice that you're also trying to give here, so not just about wearing the respirator, but also about, I think that we're a lot of type A personalities. I myself, I can't even tell you the last time I was at the doctor. I never go. And so getting checked, and being open and honest with your doctor about what it is that you do and the chemicals that you work with, and talking about maybe some of these cancers and stuff, just to see, get it looked at. You also, in your post, you said something about insurance, and I think that's something else that we all should be looking at. I mean, I myself have a cancer policy, but there are policies out there that you can make sure that you are covered in whatever it is that the possibilities that you might run into.
Absolutely, and I know that we're saving type people, rainy day people, and we're we like our toys, don't get me wrong, but it's also one of those things where these cancer treatments, just one treatment, they gave me a price, just a pre-price, just to let me know how much something would cost. They said it could be anywhere from $70,000 to $120,000 per injection.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't stroke that check 6 times in 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm not proud to say that we don't have that type of money,
Right.
you know? So, I mean, get something, get some insurance, get something, you know, because quite literally we just lucked out and we're able to go through a Social Security and ended up with insurance that way. They have a special needs disability via cancer that you can go through, and we ended up with a Medicare.
Good.
Well, I was always, since we've been doing this, and hell, before we even doing this, I was always real hardcore about get some dang insurance. And I know Doug was of the same mindset, but get at minimum, get an Aflac, because of us. There's so many guys that are listening out here and girls that, we are single owner operators or just us and a helper. And I mean, whenever we break an arm, whenever we destroy a shoulder like I did, or pop a bicep tendon like I did, you're out of the game. You need to have something, because if we can't take care of ourselves and take care of our bodies, it's game over for us if we're not running an office with multiple people and multiple helpers and things like that. So many of us, we are the business that we're doing. 100%. So insurance is vital. I mean, and it's a huge scam in some ways, and it's a necessary evil. And that's interesting. Alan Paul talking about his 4 hours on a roof and heart catheter, was the result of that. So, ton of good comments. I want to run through them real quick. You're gassing off every morning when you're filling your tank. You're right. Rich, yes. Whenever we're talking about masks, the masks that we need is at least an N95, and we need an OV, which is an organic vapor. They make 2 different kinds of cartridges, and sometimes you can get them combined. Their OV is organic vapor, and AG is acid gas. So the best one you'd have is an N100. Those are hard to breathe through, but an N99 or an N95, which means it's filling out that percentage of particulates, 95 being 95%, 99%. And then it also handles AG and OV, organic vapor and acid gas. That would be the best respirator you can get.
And they're actually, to me, they're not that difficult to breathe through until they start getting a little bit aged. And it's not just about, buying a respirator and getting the right filters, cartridges for it, but getting extra filters and making sure that you're changing them out on a regular basis. So, bare minimum monthly, changing them out. I would even say, depending on what you're doing, how you're doing, why you're doing, every 2 weeks is a good time frame. They're not that expensive. I shouldn't say that. I know that the last time I bought them, I think they were like $65.
One reason I love. One of the reasons I love having the store is because of the access to toys for illustration purposes. And when we look at a respirator like this, and this is one that is a organic vapor respirator. It's a P95, so it's getting 95% of the particulate matter out. But something a lot of people forget about these respirators is they come in resealable bags like this, the sandwich bag. And that's there for a reason, because part of the filter on here is a charcoal layer of filter on this. And active charcoal will basically wear itself out as it comes into contact with the mask. And I used to look in the back of the spray wash trucks all the time and would see these respirators sitting in the back, not in the bag. They're dead at that point. They're not offering the protection. Whenever you're done wearing your respirator, you have to put it in and seal the bag back up, because if you just let it expose to air, you're killing your respirator.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those are great respirators too. Those particular ones are the ones we carry, and we're in just a single cab truck, so it's throwing it behind the cab, not wanting it to get damaged, to get a bunch of dirt inside of it. You don't want to put that on and have a spider crawl out while you're doing a roof. That would I'd probably catch a backflip off the roof if that was me. But
and keep in mind, really, there's many different styles out there, but there's two different types of respirators that we run into. One is it's fixed on the bottom, fixed on the top, right? And then another one has a loop that goes through the center. And so it's a singular band, if you would, that goes around your neck, goes through the thing, and then up over your head. Don't get that one. Get the ones that are the single points. The reason being is that other one tends to slip and slide along with that elastic piece, and it seems to not stay on your face correctly and properly, all that kind of thing. So get the ones, and then you can adjust them by pulling the straps really, really easy. And to me, it's the best way to go. So for those that kind of joined us late, which there are quite a few people, Rich started in about 2015, really. And so if you can, Rich, tell us a little bit about, why the doctor was towards the gas, or how that conversation came up to say it's probably from what you do for a living.
Well, I was the one that actually brought it to his attention. And during the conversation, he was very leaned into the conversation, and when I said, hey, look, I'm a pressure washer, and we use a lot of bleach in our solutions every day on a daily basis, and that would be a chlorine gas off, and he kind of did the whole, yeah, that's a major point that you got there, and he says, he's getting to that he got comfortable, and he started doctor thinking, and you could see his mind working and saying, what, that is a huge part of that particular sarcoma is the chlorine gases. That's one of the main reasons that somebody could get that type of cancer in a non-cancer history family,
So there is no history of any kind of real cancers in your family, that kind of thing. So, I mean, because that's one thing. Well, it's just a genetic thing. It's just something that happened. Probably not in this case, right? I mean,
right. Yeah.
A better probability from not wearing the respirator and the daily.
I'm losing a little bit of a signal.
Yeah, you fade in and out, Ray.
Yeah, I know that Mark Carraro, he was selling the gas mask style, and I was fortunate enough to get one of those from him. And then I actually have this one right here, because somebody had mentioned about the eyeballs and how bad it burns there too. But if you really want the full protection, a gas mask with the full face shield, and then the interchangeable cartridges that go on right in there, that's gonna, now you're gonna be dropping $150-200 on these, but well worth it. I love the one that I got from Mark and wore it for years. It was very comfortable. They can get hot, but sometimes I'd rather be uncomfortable than the alternative on there.
Yeah, those things right there are what we used to use in my old SWAT days. As far as when we go in with tear gas and all kinds of stuff, there's a lot of things that we can come in contact on that end, and those full face masks were awesome. Of course, we didn't have facial hair or anything.
Yeah.
But because they really don't get a good seal. You know, you can actually smell that right through it. One of the guys had a goatee and he didn't shave it down far enough, and he was over in the corner choking to death, you know, on because we use some pretty nasty stuff called Freeze Plus P, and it was pretty nasty.
I mean, if you can smell it, if you can smell bleach with your respirator on, your respirator is not fit correctly.
Well, see, there's something I want to bring up too. Is how many of you guys out there smell bleach?
Not much.
Well, you know, you only smell it for the first 3 or 4 minutes. After that, you don't smell it anymore because the respirator then seats itself, right? Isn't that how?
Well, no, Doug. I'm talking about like if you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
How many of us have been working so long that you can crack open a brand new 55 that just came off of the truck and it's registering at 14%, and you can't smell a lick of that.
Yeah.
You know, that goes to show you something. Like, you know, I mean, if you can't smell that, man, you better start masking up. Seriously.
That's actually kind of
what the
point was, though, is that, you know, you put the mask on and you only smell it.
I remember my guys would always laugh at me.
You're blinking in and out on us sometimes, so that's why.
I said I always laughed. My guys would always laugh at me, but as we were spraying, I would literally put my finger in front of the stream and do that and feel like that to see what strength we were spraying, because I cannot smell bleach anymore.
Right.
I really can't. I'm like, oh, that's a house mix. Yeah.
And my point to the respirator thing was when you put it on and you smell it for the first 2 or 3 minutes and then the respirator seats itself, that's crap. We all know it. What really happens is you that first 2 or 3 minutes you're smelling it, then it eats up all your senses and now you don't smell it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. The respirator has seated itself.
Right.
Because it's burned up your senses. So yeah, I mean, that's what makes it so important.
Hey, Doug, I'm gonna back off and see if this will improve the connection. I'm just gonna kind of be DJ for y'all for a minute.
Gotcha. Yeah, you were cutting out even on that one. So, I'm not sure who this Facebook user is. Says my dad worked in the pest control industry for years, and his company not only made all applicators wear masks, but also made them keep it clean shaven, be clean and shaven to seal the mask. And that is super important. Actually, when you go through and you get fit tested, they wave a little thing all around the mask to see if, because it'll, you know, give you because it's
stuff.
So
yeah, that's super important, because if you don't smell it, all those gases anymore, what good is it? You know, you're doing yourself absolutely zero to help yourself. And I guess that's just kind of the main point that I'm trying to get across to everybody, that it's bad. It's bad. I'm going to be going through a real tough time, and it's going to suck. This is going to suck so bad, guys. It's going to put a damper on me, my family, possibly my business. I don't know what the exact outcome of it is. I mean, we're going to push through it as hard as we can, and I got a super great support system down here in Biloxi. I got guys that I'm in contact with constantly that are either rooting for me or trying to help me in different ways, one way or another. But I mean, like, just pay attention, guys. It's super important. I know we all are like, you know, oh man, it gets hot. I can't breathe in it. It's sweaty in there. You know, I think we just really need to be proactive, clean it out, fix ourselves, and make sure we get through the jobs. I mean, if you're saying that it costs too much money, raise your rates, fellas. You know, I mean, take that into consideration.
Chemotherapy costs were like 80 to 120 grand per round. I mean, so how expensive is a respirator really?
Right. Cheap in compared to what I have to go through now. So,
and this is all, you know, because we're always, it seems like we're always saying raise your rates, and it gets old, right? Well, these are some of the things that you can be talking about with potential customers as to, you know, why your rates are what your rates are. When they're saying about, the other guy is a lot cheaper, you can bring up things like respirators. Are they making their guys wear respirators? Because we are doing that to protect our guys. Bring up the negative side. People, oh, I don't want them to be, the chemicals, and then they're not going to want to hire us. And no, be open and honest. And I Rich, you and I have never really talked about this, but do you hide the chemical use that you do?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, if somebody comes and says, I don't want you to use bleach, I'll say, all right, I'll send you one of our people that may not use bleach. I don't know. Or maybe somebody. You'll have to ask them, but we're not your company. Yeah. I'm just. It works too well. It looks too good. It does the job in cracks and crevices where you can't physically pressure wash. I mean, years and years ago, we were the company that had the several of the DeWalt 4200 psi Walmart, Home Depot pressure washers, and when they broke, we went and bought another one.
Yep.
And we had the long 28-foot telescoping pressure washer wand, and we're doing apartment complexes like that. How much would that suck today? Yeah. Knowing that we know how to press the easy button and use this. But in pressing that easy button, we need to be responsible and be careful, as to what we're doing to our bodies.
And Josh is saying the PWNA respirator certification is fantastic. I would highly recommend it to everyone. So, and it is. They have the respirator certification thing over at the PWNA, and I think that's a good thing for everybody to look at and everybody to take, and to be able to share that with your employees. I think it'll open up your mind on a lot of things and get you to help you understand a little bit about how the respirator fits, why it's such a good. It's an investment in your future and in your employees' futures. Alan's saying, while I had a catheter up my groin and into my heart, the cardiologist asked if I could wash his tennis court. I said, save me and let me know when.
Nice. I want to add also, one of the areas that is probably the most damaging to us that we've not spoken about, and we don't think that it's bad, is screened porches on a non-windy day, because we go into a pool.
It's all held in there.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, it's not dissipating, and you walk into a pool screen or a screen porch, and you're literally walking into a room full of gas. Mm-hmm. It's bad,
Right. And you've also
house. Think about this. You got the front of the house and the back of the house, right? But the wind is blowing and it's kind of coming around. And so the one side of the house, all that wind is coming, it's kind of staying right in there and getting trapped between the two houses. And so you're sitting there spraying, you're catching all of that's coming in. That's what you're breathing in. So, I mean, even it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter where you're at. It's just something that you should wear all the time.
Right, I totally agree, and I think just educating our customers that when we do look like Darth Vader walking on to the property after we make our initial contact, that this is for our protection because we do this every day, and we're not only going to your house today, we're going to 4 other houses today, or we're doing this entire apartment complex. So that's why we look like we look. We're protecting ourselves. How we're protecting ourselves, and if they say, if they give the whole, well, what's it going to do to me? Say probably nothing, because honestly, you don't have the exposure that we do. We do this every day, sometimes 7 days a week in the busy season.
Absolutely. And Michael, I want to touch on what you're saying. So after 30 years, this scares the heck out of me. I've worn mine regularly lately, but not for the first 15 years. So. And again, one of the things about this, especially this particular type of cancer, is that it's extremely aggressive, and there's no real signs to it at all. So, look, there is no shame in going in and just getting yourself a standard checkup, and bring this up to the doctor and say, I'm just I'm wanting to take a look, and I don't know how they'll react. I think a lot of doctors will be like, no, if you have no signs or symptoms, I mean, we're not just going to run a CAT scan for no reason. kind of a thing. But there is a reason. You've been exposed for a long period of time.
Right.
And I would just, maybe even call them up.
Tell them to call me. I'll give you my cell.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
the reason why.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like with women go in for mammograms. There's not necessarily any sign or whatever that they have. They may not feel a lump in their breast, but it's something that they should get checked. Even as we're getting older, look at us. We've all got a little bit of gray hair, here, right? So as we get older, there are certain checkups that we're supposed to have anyhow. So why not?
When you were talking earlier, Brenda had brought up, about exposure. And back in 2017, when I wrote that first safety class, that first safety class that we had, and one of the things that I talked to my OSHA deputy director of the Jacksonville office about, and because we were kind of cutting up about, well, we're not, wearing closed-toed shoes and we're washing in Crocs and we're doing, we're soft washing. We're not pressure washing. I'm not exposing my guys to high pressure. And one of the things he said was, don't get me started on your soft washing stuff. And I don't think he said stuff. He said, because in any other industry, if we were exposing people to chemicals like you're exposing your employees to chemicals, we would have a field day with you. Mm-hmm. And think about it. I mean, and he said, really, if we want to think about it by the true letter of the law, you're sitting there under bleach water dripping down. You should be in a Tyvek suit with gloves, with the full booty protection on there, waterproof shoes, with the Oompa Loompa suit and a respirator. And I was like, dude, nobody would work for me. I mean, literally, we'd all pass out from heat exhaustion. He said, no, I get it. I'm just telling you, by the strictest letter of the law, that's what you should be doing for the chemical exposure you're putting yourself to.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times that, especially this happened more before the proportioner than after the proportioner. So when I was batch mixing, this would happen. You're trying to figure out your calculations, and you start off with a roof mix at 3 to 4%, and then you try to break it down to a 1% or maybe a 1.5%, and who knows where you're really at. And then you come home at the end of the day, and your skin's all getting red, and your hair is gone off of your arms, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's absorbing into your skin as well. So anytime you're spraying, you're getting it all over you. I can't tell you how many times my shoulders have been burning, or,
Right. How about
batch mixing?
Doug, are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay. So how many times did you have a burn on your right hip from spraying when the O-ring was bad and you just were working through it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're all guilty of these things. These are common things that we're dealing with. This is everybody. Everybody has those issues. There it is, right there, right down the arm. That one little line. Like, how many of us have had that red line going down all the way to your elbow?
I had a business partner once tell me something, and non-washing related, but the comment that he made to me was, it takes no time at all to be uncomfortable. And in all honesty, he's 100% right, because how many times do we need to swap out an O-ring? Do we need to change out a gun? Do we need to do a 30-second or maybe even 5-minute task that would make us comfortable to wash off our windshield for an extra 45 seconds, but we don't do it. And if we don't take that time, we're going to be uncomfortable. So dang it, spend a little extra time and do something for your comfort.
Yep. If it's leaking, stop and fix it. That was the rule. Exactly because of that, especially once when I got burned in the nether region. Man, ever since I knew at that point, hey, look, this is so stupid. I mean, it literally is going to take me 5 minutes to, swap out this leaking O-ring or this tip, and then I don't have that leaking situation anymore. And I'm no longer, really exposing myself as badly because I don't have that, running down my arm kind of a thing. So
right.
It is something that you should swap out.
And and Jeff brings up a good point here. He said, I was talking to a man in another group today. Chlorine, it's fairly carelessly made, nowhere near as clean as it used to be. It's more yellow, more impurities. Absolutely. There's now like 3 ways of making chlorine, where there used to be one way of making chlorine, but they've changed up the whole manufacture of that over the past few years, and there's multiple ways of making it. Some are better than others on there. There's the low salt bleach. There's several different things. Mm-hmm. This Facebook user is saying exposure to cleaning products once a week could increase the risk of becoming breathless. Bleach has been linked to serious lung conditions, including bronchitis and emphysema.
Yeah. Wow. Absolutely.
And Tanya makes a comment. I know that lady. God bless you, Rich, for caring enough to come on here and educate and share your story. What a true testament of your character, compassion, and courage. Thank you for caring, and I hope folks will heed your message. We'll be cheering you on through your journey, my friend, and you truly have an entire village behind you. You got more than a village. You've got a mid-sized city behind you.
Mm-hmm. So, man. I know that everybody is so great in our industry. Everybody really pulls together, and there's nobody that's going to really let anybody down. I know we have our camaraderie, but we also have our competitiveness too, because like Doug said earlier, we're all kind of alphas. We're in there to win it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to beat other people, believe me. We have competitions on who's making what in a week, and we're trying to beat each other. We really are.
Absolutely.
And that pushes us harder, and that just it's a friendly competition. But
so you actually start chemotherapy?
I started on Wednesday. I got a port put in. They went in on my left side, and they've got it's underneath my skin. It's a little dot-like thing, side of a marble, and then they have a little tube going into an artery. And I had my first injection of chemotherapy on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost a week into it. So I haven't quite started losing my hair yet, but I was taking a shower.
It's not that bad.
Well, I'm not there yet, Ray, but I'm going to beat you, bro.
It gave you a gray patch in the front. That's what it did.
As far as the competition goes on this one, brother, I'm going to win on the baldness in a few years. I'm going to put a hundo on that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna look like an egg here soon, what? How can we go into this? We got to go in fighting and
positive attitude,
and being joking about it. I can't do anything about it at this point, but let the doctors do what they're going to do.
Bingo, 100%.
Everybody's praying, everybody's believing, and I've got an army of prayer warriors behind me as well. I know y'all are men of God, and I know I am too. It's just everything's going to work out. I guarantee you it's going to work out. It's going to be all fine, but it's going to be a struggle. It's going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to suck. And God bless you. And you've got your friends. You've got, this is one of those prime examples though of, for you new guys watching out there. And Rich, you're somewhat active. You're not out there all the time posting, but you're one of the guys that you absolutely have closely held opinions. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're not a jerk whenever you share those opinions with people either. And you're not one of these just know-it-all butt heads out there, and you're willing to listen. You're willing to give, to explain. This is how you're supposed to engage on social media. This is one of the reasons that Rich is loved very much out here. You may not know Rich, but he's not spent the last 7 years on Facebook trying to be a big butthole.
Yeah, and
that's but I can be.
You can be. No, you can be. I'm not saying you're walking on water or anything, brother, but
watch yourself, mister.
You knew that you don't do any of those.
Got him.
What,
No, Rich, I am not attacking you, Rich. And
No,
Rick.
no,
I'm
no,
not-
no. I'm good.
what would you like to see happen within the industry in regards to this happening? I mean, I would like to see, I would like to see you keep up with us and come back and do some more of these, every, so often, to kind of keep track of the progress and the process. And because for me, I think it's about building the awareness and keeping the awareness flowing and going, and making sure that people understand why this is happening, why we're doing. You said just a moment ago that we're all men of God, and for me, maybe that's part of it, right? Maybe the point is, because we always wonder what's the reason, what's the point, why does it happen to me, right? Well, maybe this is the point, maybe this is the reason, right? So that we can get out there and help and other people understand the seriousness of wearing a respirator and wearing your proper protective equipment and all that kind of stuff.
Man, honestly, if y'all needed me to be a poster boy for it, I'd be willing to do that. Obviously, I'd have to be doing a lot of stuff online, because in all honesty, this treatment is one of the strongest treatments that you can get. In fact, if it's not the strongest one that you can get. So my immune system is going to be tanked. I mean, it's going to be zero. They're going to be giving me white blood cell boosters just so I won't get anything. I had a small scare this past Friday. Ended up being in the ER a couple of times, and it was just because I was checking my temperature, and ended up being strep throat, the beginning of strep throat. And boy, they shot me with that penicillin in the butt cheek, and it still feels like a brick. Yeah. But I mean, as far as the industry goes, I think it's probably needs to be one of the most important things on the safety list. I mean, I know we have all our safety procedures with fire extinguishers, and where's the fuel going? Where's our fuel being filled up at? Is it all on one side of the truck? Are chemicals in places where you can get to them to neutralize other chemicals in case of a spill? I mean, if we have a whole spill out, I've got a bucket of sodium thiosulfate mixed up, ready to go, to where if I just had to dump it on the ground to neutralize it, I mean, I don't know, we could be on the side of the road with a cracked tank. I don't know. So, I think that it's got to be part of the safety awareness of the industry that we need to really promote something. I know I was definitely one that did not want to wear a mask because it's hot. I mean, we're in South Mississippi. I mean, we all three of us are on the same plane. Yeah,
we're on the same latitude,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know we're in the devil's taint of the world during summer.
We are.
I mean, y'all know how hot it is. I mean, it's unbearable sometimes.
It's absolutely miserable here come August,
and then throw a mask on top of that.
You mentioned about about the being prepared, and there's more of us that need to do this. I literally watched today was Monday, and a guy came in, and I saw him. He's a frequent customer. He comes in. I was like, "Hey, Mark, what's going on? How was your day? Or how was your weekend?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to show you something that's either going to make you cry or make you laugh." And I said, "Okay, show it to me." And he showed me a video on his phone of his truck going up in flames.
Oh.
And he had just gotten it out of the shop. And most likely what happened, he was having his brake lines redone because of bleach. And thinks that maybe the mechanic, because it was on the driver's side the driver's side front, but they're thinking the mechanic may not have tightened down the brake fluid reservoir really well, because there was brake fluid spilling out when the fire started as it was spraying up against the hot engine on there. His truck was a total, absolute 100% loss, fully involved fire, And we were talking, he's like, I saw the fire starting. He said, I just got this thing out of the shop. I took it home. I cleaned it up. I took everything out. I was going to start fresh because I haven't had this truck in about 4 months because we were getting new brake lines put on it. And I've been using my personal truck to pull a trailer around. It's a nice wrapped truck. He said, I took my fire extinguisher out. I took, the safety stuff out. I was just in a bare truck. I had just had it washed and I was feeling kind of proud. I was not prepared for this because normally I would have the fire extinguisher right behind, the driver's thing. And that's something that kind of gets going into the DOT where I just took the DOT the class at PWNA. If you're doing safety stuff, you better know where your safety stuff is no good. If you say, yeah, I've got a respirator, it's in the truck somewhere.
In the bag, never been opened.
Unless you know where it is and unless you use it, it does you no good. Yeah, I got a fire extinguisher. It's if you ever get stopped by the DOT, okay, where's your fire extinguisher at?
It's in the truck.
They know that you've not done your pre-inspection check off on there and said, okay, fire extinguisher is in its place. Triangles are in their place. You've not done that. So all the safety gear in the world only works unless you use it.
I have to agree with that. But like in our off-roading expeditions, I'm big into rock crawling.
How many Jeeps do you have now?
Don't get me on that.
Anyhow, keep going.
It's to my wife, too many. So, we've had fires in the middle of nowhere, and we carry the smaller extinguishers, and I got to be honest with you, those smaller extinguishers are like spitting at a fire, at a fuel fire or a brake line fire. And to be honest with you, we've switched to the bigger ones. And we put them on all four corners and more towards the exterior. And we actually translated that onto our truck as well. So on the front by the headache rack, we have one on each side. And then towards the back, we have one on each side. Because what if a fire happens right by that fire extinguisher? Are you going to grab it?
No, you can't.
No.
You can't. I mean, seriously, what are we talking about here? We're talking an extra $100 or something. I mean, we're talking about what some of us would drop on a happy hour, half of a happy hour at some point. Buy the extra safety gear. Come on, man.
How many times have you bought a $300 bottle of whiskey? Grab a fire extinguisher, an extra one.
It's not that difficult. They're out there, and you have to make sure that you keep up with them as well. Just buying one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For 5 years. In your truck, never using it and saying, okay, well, I have one. Great. But when was the last time you checked it and made sure that it is in working order? Because
and there's inspection companies that'll do that for you. You can just have them come by and just do a simple check on it and they'll put a tag out on it, and they'll tag it and put it for that year. It's checked for 2022. It's good for 3 years. Who knows? I don't know. I don't remember what.
I think they're yearly. They're supposed to be done by
right.
Years.
That's some good info right there. What Jeff is saying. Years back, Dave Nazat and I cleaned the largest roof in Louisiana. I remember whenever you went out for that, Jeff. But he gave you a pouch with sodium thiosulfate. Since that day, you carry it in your pocket. Must have anti-venom on you at all times. Yeah, I do not disagree at all.
Yeah, and there's some of that you buy it. That is you get it at the fish tank store, and it comes in a little tube. Helps out a lot. Like if you get it on your face and all that, you can wipe it on there to help neutralize it on your face and all. I can't remember what it's called though.
What's that?
The ones that you can get at a like a fish tank store.
Oh, it's just water
neutralizer.
Water conditioner. So yeah,
but it's got a specific name to it, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
so, and it's great.
Rich, you need to blink every now and then.
I am not a robot.
It's side effects of the chemo. It's.
I didn't realize I wasn't blinking.
Oh man.
So we should start. Okay, so I'm going to go with the dark humor here, just because I know Rich is good with this because he's got a very positive attitude and all that. But I'm starting a prize pool that we all get to, like, you buy your block on when Rich is going to go bald. So
It's put it on a calendar. We can do a spray
calendar.
wash calendar.
We'll have a bald pool.
Yeah. We can put tufts of hair on the date.
Yeah.
Always happen to you assholes with good hair too. You like me. I'll always be the wispy guy here.
Yeah. Karma's getting me now, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I always wondered, so you'll have to give us the updates there. I mean, does it happen like you're that kid from that movie from like the 80s that like was just all bald, or is it just
yeah, dude. I mean, like, I'm gonna lose eyelashes, eyebrows, the whole shebang.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, dude. The doctor, he said, just picture a newborn baby. You know, I was like, that's awesome. I won't have to shave down there anymore. No more manscaping for me, baby.
Baby smooth.
That's right.
Oh man,
baby's butt. No,
well, Rich, you know you are, and thank you so much for. I can't, and one, you're so are in our prayers, and I know I was on my knees last week, whenever you told me that the news on there, and you'll continue to be on them. And we're going to reach out to the church and get you on every prayer list that we can. And thank you so much for coming out here and talking about this and sharing this with everybody. And I think I can't overstate how much this may have helped one person. This could have literally change the trajectory of one person's life out there you've changed their world just by hearing this, or changed their employees' world.
I hope so too, and I hope that everybody takes this not with a grain of salt. I mean, this is a boulder, guys. I mean, this is no joke. I know I don't look like it right now, but we'll have to do an update once I start looking like absolute crap. Like, well,
they said Uncle Fester was brought up. You could be Uncle Fester. Oh, can you come out with a light bulb in your mouth?
Yeah, man, I've got to do that. That
would be hilarious.
Yeah. My wife already got me the whole visor with the fake hair on top of it.
Nice.
That's spiked up. Yeah, she's cool. I told her to get me a Joe Dirt one too. You gotta have them.
If she finds a spare, let me.
We might be sending y'all a care package.
There you go,
man. Well, you know what? You're anybody's kind of a reflection of their friends, and I know you've got some amazing friends out there, and Rich, you're just a testament to awesomeness, and you know what? You're going to fight the good fight on this, brother. And I firmly believe that.
Heck yeah.
I think that also makes it a little bit easier too, because I feel like you are you're a true warrior, and, your spirits are good and all that. It'll be a hell of a fight, but I believe the same as you do. You're going to come out on top because that's who you are as a person. And it's just something that you're going to kick butt on.
The fight's in me, I mean, it's always been in me, and losing isn't an option. It never has been. That's why we've been successful in our business. That's why we've been successful outside of business. I mean, in our personal lives, we have 2 great children, a great marriage. I mean, this is something that you can't fail at. Life. It's not just one thing or another. You got to have this outlook. Everywhere, nothing. Don't fail. Don't fail.
Mm-hmm. There's an old saying. It was something like, there's the one person that watched the waves. Thinking about was watching the sea and watching the waves, break against the rocks, and was thinking how just watching that. And then there's the other guy, and he was kind of scared about the futility of his life. And then there's the other guy that said, you know what, he watched the same thing happening going, you know what, I am the Rock, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. I had some communications with some of my old SWAT team members, you know, and they were like, like especially my my commander, he called me and he says, I am not allowing you to lose. It will not happen.
Nice. You've got orders now.
That's right.
That's it. It is
Absolutely.
what it is.
Well, you give us, I mean, hey, this doesn't have to be Monday night. You want to talk about something, you want to do it, you give us a few minutes notice and we'll go live. And again, thank you so much for the time, and God knows we're all rooting for you. And again, thank you for bringing this, because I know we've helped some people out here.
Yeah. And I hope that just this little bit of information today will help out anybody. I really do.
Do you have any parting thoughts that you want to give to everybody?
I don't know. I'm not one of huge wisdom words. I don't know. Go get them, guys. You know, I mean, make this is our slow season. Bring it back up. This is the time when you guys want to get out and hustle. Don't wait till it gets to the season when you're behind the ball. You know, start hitting these people hard now. While they do have time. They're doing budgets right now. They're figuring out next year.
Exactly.
You know, rock out. Don't. I don't want anybody to fail. All the guys around me know that I throw them bones. They throw me bones. We're all working together. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been out there and never seen a pressure washer and get 15 calls during the day from different people. You know, and hey, what's going on? You know, are you busy? I'm not getting any phone calls. You know, so
I mean, you bring up a great point, just business wise. This is go time. Right now is your final push. You know, we used to always say that when the Christmas lights go off, typically the calls are gonna come down. But I'll tell you what, there's commercial places that still have money to spend. There's people that want to get their places cleaned up before Thanksgiving. And like you said, there's people that are not on a fiscal year, they're on a calendar year. They're finalizing budgets right now.
Absolutely.
If you're slow, you need to be out there shaking the trees. You can either be proactive or reactive.
Absolutely. I know that
you know, which one you want to be.
Right. Be the guy that can make a phone call and get a 20 grand deal. You know, I mean,
absolutely.
Don't be scared of that stuff. You know, I mean, it can happen. I mean, it's not far fetched to make a phone call to the guy that you talked to 6 months ago, and he's literally done nothing yet, nothing. And he'll say, "Oh man, I totally forgot about that. Yep. And I've got 50 grand I need to spend by the end of the year. Can you hook me up?" Well, hell yeah, I can hook you up. I'll work night and day for that.
Yeah.
And not only that, we might even be able to call it sanitizing and put it under COVID funds and classify it under that instead of your annual budget on there, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I want to give you all real quick, just a little story. I told this to somebody today, and it actually has to do with a customer of mine. And so he came in, and he's a couple of counties over. He's over down in Taylor County. And he was asking how he grew in Taylor County to the south of us, and he's asking how he grew his government business, because we were always real big in that. And I said, you need to go out and find who's in charge of governments. And we literally sat here and on the computer, and I said, okay, let's look at Taylor County School Board. Bob Johnson, facilities director. Here's his email and his phone number. Oh, wow. You think I should call? Yeah, I think you should. Oh, is that his email there too? He's taking a picture of my screen. And I said, wow, Taylor County facilities maintenance. Here's, Ben White. Oh, you think I should? Yes, I do. We came in about maybe a month later. I saw him. Man, you would be so happy with me, Ray. I was like, why is that? He said, I sent an email to both of those guys. He said, I even went and took a picture of one of the schools that was really dirty and sent an email. I said, I'm proud of you, you know? So what did he say? He's like, well, I don't know. He never responded. And that's what's happening to a lot of your and I said, well, did you do a follow-up email? Well, no. I said, did you do a phone call? Well, no. Did you? Then how do you know he even got your email that you sent him down in Taylor County? It may have gone to his spam folder that he never checks. You may have put that picture to it and it automatically flagged it and sent it to his trash because it had a file from an unknown thing. I said, man, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to hear no. You hear that from your wife probably 5 times a week. I mean, seriously. Pick up the phone and call. Fortune favors the bold. Guys, if anybody out here is listening to this podcast, if you're too scared to pick up the phone and call a facilities guy and hear the word no, you're in the wrong business.
Say it, Doug. Say it, Doug. I know you want to say it. Your famous Goya, baby.
Goya.
Yeah.
Get off your ass.
That's it.
I mean, you won't be successful unless you don't.
No,
I mean, it's quite literally a phone call or a walk up, knock on a door. I don't give a care if it says no soliciting. Kick me the freak off your property.
Okay.
Sorry,
my bad.
You know, whoops, didn't see it.
Yeah.
Here I am in La La Land. By the way, my name's Rich. You want to go eat lunch?
Yeah. The power of lunch is pretty amazing.
Bro, bring some donuts, see what happens.
Yep.
That gatekeeper gets real loose with their information.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
You get her some Krispy Kremes, and all of a sudden, she's your best friend.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
But Jacob Dell's telling me to do lewd things on here.
Jacob.
That boy.
Listen to that boy.
He's wrong.
He ain't got good sense.
Yeah. I don't even know why we let him on here.
No, don't.
Yeah. Let's not start down that path. Well, Rich, we appreciate you joining us, buddy. And again, if there's anything we can do, reach out to us. If there's anything the community can do for you, reach out to us. Man, we'd love to, like I said, just keep up with the journey and keep the conversation going. I don't want it to stop here. Even if some miracle happens tomorrow and it's all completely gone, then I still want to keep up the conversation, Oh, look like he's gone there.
Did he not even listen to what we said? Stick around afterwards so we can make fun of the silly questions? Damn it.
Well, it's one of those things. But anyhow, we really appreciate y'all. And
oh, here he comes. He's back. He's back. You left us. You premature left us.
I know, right in Doug's solemn, heartfelt moment. See ya. Thanks, suckers. I'm out of here.
All right, y'all. Peace, and we'll see you next week. And Rich, hang out for a minute. Let's chat.
All right.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate y'all.